Hi, this is Aaron with Zollotech. Today we're going to do a quick comparison of the browser speed on the MyTouch3g versus the iPhone 3GS. Now, with my Palm Pre versus Hero comparison, many people said shut the flash off and then see how fast the browser is. Unfortunately, I don't have the Hero anymore. However, this is a very similar processor, almost identical to the Hero, and it should give us similar results, and this doesn't have flash. So I'll go ahead and open the browser, and you can see it does take a minute and Google's loading. So let's go ahead and open the browser on the iPhone. And I have to shut off airplane mode here. Just give me a second. And hopefully it doesn't interfere with the video. It may. But let's go ahead and open the browser, and we'll go to Zollotech. So there's Zollotech. If I hit menu down here, I have bookmarks that pop up. I can hit bookmarks, and there's Zollotech. So let's go ahead and hit them at the same time, and we'll try to do it as close as I can. That's not a fair comparison. Let me go back. So let's go ahead and I'll hit open and hit this at the same time. I want to make sure it's as fair as can be. So they're both loading. They've both been loaded, so they both would be cached if they would be normally. Only thing I have a problem with Android is the browser speed, and it's not too bad. It's not intolerable or anything like that. So you can see it's open on the left already. On the right, it's still opening. However, I can scroll around. This is a flash ad, I believe, and then here's the most recent story. Now, on the MyTouch, there is no multi-touch unless you install a different ROM. So if I tap the screen, nope, I don't want to do that. I want to stay on Zollotech, but I can bring up the zoom plus and minus button, just kind of archaic, but a good way if you don't have multi-touch, I guess. The problem is I need to zoom out on this. And you can see there it's going to load the story. It is a little bit finicky to use, I think. But there we go. There's the plus minus. Let's zoom out so we can get the same size. Now, I understand that once Android 2.0 comes out, that's no longer a problem. I believe it auto scales to the size. You wouldn't have to do this anymore. I haven't used it myself to try as much to play around with it. I have played around with the Droid a little bit, but you know, overall, I think this is a pretty good browsing experience. You do have the full web in your hands, as Steve Jobs used to make a big deal about. Let's scroll up. You can see it's a little bit jerky. Not too bad though. It's not unacceptable. As far as scrolling and then reading, if I want to see this, I can double tap, I believe, or I can zoom. That's the only bad part. Now, if I wanted to see this in landscape, I can do that. The screen fades and flips pretty quick. Not a big deal. And then you would zoom in and read it. It is a little bit harder to read on here. You know, you can see the 3GS is pretty quick to flip too, but it was a little jerky there. Let's go back. And it's quick. It's not a big deal on the MyTouch either. I've been pretty well surprised at how fast the MyTouch really runs. It does have Donut on it, like I said, 1.6, and it's pretty good. Let's go back to home. And so I said, you know, so you can see how quick the browsers come up. I'll hit browser, and they're both up really fast. Boom. I mean, the MyTouch might even be faster. Now the key is it can run multiple applications. So if it's not up, it does take a little bit longer to run. And you can see this little Android I have in the upper left here. I can see what's running, and I can see if the browser is still running, and it is. So it stays running, but the phone really doesn't lose any speed, and that's really key. So here I can tap the browser, it comes up quick. Tap the browser, it comes up real quick. It's already, or it's there for the most part, but it's just refreshing, so it took a little longer than before. It's hard to say which one is going to be better overall, because this really isn't finished, and once Android 2.0 comes out, I think you'll see a big difference for this phone. And if it doesn't come out for the MyTouch, we'll find a way to get it on there, I'm sure. There's going to be someone that's doing that. So browser overall is pretty nice. You do have like a little zoom box here that was if you saw what I tapped in the lower left. So it does help you view what you're seeing because the screen is a little bit smaller on this phone. So if I go back to home, now there is another thing too. In the marketplace you can also see things like Opera, other browsers. On the iPhone they don't allow other browsers. So we'll go to the market quick and show you, since we have some time on the video. We're only about 5 minutes in. I can post up to about a 10-minute. So the market's loading. There's your market. And if I hit search up here, brings up the keyboard. The keyboard's pretty good. It's not as good as the iPhone 3G or 3GS because it's not multi-touch. So you do get a little bit of lag here and there. So let's look for browser and hit search. So browser, we've got browser, old browser, product browsers. I know this is a web browser. In particular, some that people use is Opera, so we're going to look for that. I double tapped, and we'll look for Opera here, and there's Opera Mini. Tap that, and we hit install. Now it's going to say, do you want to access this, or do you want to allow the browser to access your network connection? You say OK, and it's installing. It's installing in the background. It doesn't flip to the home screen to install like the iPhone. Nice little thing Android does. So the download's complete. It's probably going to install in a minute, and then we'll be able to use it. So it's successfully installed. It just got a notification on that. So I'm going to go back to home. I'll bring the drawer up here and scroll down to Opera, and there's Opera Mini. If I want to put it on my desktop, I just tap it, hold. Now I've got it there, so I can use either browser now. I tap that and open this up here, and here's Opera Mini, and it's installing. It does take a minute, but overall the MyTouch is surprisingly much faster than I expected it to be. It's very usable, not a problem using it. This is explaining how you can save pages and that sort of thing. Users agreements, it makes you go down and read it all, blah blah blah. Accept. Did I get it? Yeah, there we go. So let's go ahead and open CNN. Okay, to protect your browsing security, some random data is needed. Please press the number keys or move the pointer until the indicator is full. Okay, so down here it made me press until it was full. I had not seen that before on Opera that I've used. But if you saw how quickly that opened, that's pretty impressive. If I hit menu, I can hit, it brings up this drawer down on the bottom, and I can hit www. Let's try Zollotech and see how it renders in Opera. Oops, I mistyped that. Done. Now the only problem I had with this before was, okay, so we hit menu, hit OK, now it's going to load it. It's a little bit of a different experience than you'll see on other smartphones, but overall very good. So it's saying it's loading 146K total. It loaded, and it's even loading. It loaded the flash ads at the top, so that's impressive. That's pretty good. It did render the menu buttons a little weird. If you can see this. Oh, there they go. I guess it was just when they were zoomed out. But overall, the Opera browser is very snappy, very fast. Pretty good. So if you have any questions, you think of another browser is better, that sort of thing, let me know. I'll give it a shot, and we'll show you here. If you have any requests, we'll continue to show you Android as things change and new things happen. But overall, very impressed with Android in general. If you used it yourself, I think you would agree. It is second to iPhone in my opinion. Unless you have the Droid, I would say they're neck and neck. Pretty close though, and there's definitely some things to like more than the iPhone, and vice versa. So this is Aaron with Zollotech. We'll see you next time.